The dominance for Bitcoin keeps on going up and altcoins keep on bleeding. People are getting depressed. They feel like they want to capitulate and that an alt season is not going to occur. And I think that that's exactly the sentiment that we need in the market. So let's take a look how things are looking at, what we can expect for Bitcoin altcoins in this summer and the months after that, because my views haven't changed. It's still short-term cautious, mid-term, very cautious, long-term, extremely bullish. So let's get right into this. Welcome to the Fomo Factory. Please like the video if you like the content. Subscribe to the channel if you feel like, hey, this is something I do not want to miss, because this is something you do not want to miss. Turn the bell notification on. Check out the Patreon down below for exclusive sales. And let's jump right into the content. So the Bitcoin dominance, like I said, is going up pretty hard. And that means that Bitcoin is dominating the crypto space more compared to all the other assets out there, but also including stable coins like USDC and USDT. And that's not really a fair representation, of course. So let's also take a look at the dominance without these stable coins, and potentially at the dominance without stable coins and the high caps. For some people, it's not that interesting to invest over there and just want to look at the lower caps as they are more degens, and that's totally understandable, because the degens had a very good couple of months, but in the last 2 months it's been declining and all the gains are getting washed out again, and we're basically back at zero. So what in the fuck is happening right here? Well, first, if we look at Bitcoin's market cap and we divide it by the total market cap minus USDC, USDT, Ethereum, Cardano, and XRP, then you get the Bitcoin dominance without these assets. So how much is Bitcoin dominating except for these 5 assets? There you can see that over the last couple of weeks, the Bitcoin dominance is picking up again. But overall, on a really more macro perspective, it is in a downtrend. So yes, altcoins are slowly picking up, but it's overall not really that bullish yet. And as you can see, we are still sitting at pretty high levels. And you could look at this like a downtrend, but you could also look at this like what we saw over here, where we went down, maybe a little up, down, up again, finally have that peak, and then get a big alt season. Because it is, yeah, like I said, it is slowly going down, but it is not really showing any weakness over here yet. And, you know, this 70% level, it's a big level for us if we get back down there to test. And if we hold that, then altcoins might need some more time to finally pick back up again. If you do feel like, yeah, but XRP is going to $50,000, right? And Ethereum and Cardano are all the best buys right there. like, okay, then we can include these. So we just look at the Bitcoin dominance excluding stable coins. Yeah, there we can see that the Bitcoin dominance excluding stable coins is basically sitting at the top. And this is a big resistance area. We got rejected right here in October last year, in December last year, at the beginning, well, not beginning, April this year, and now we are back at that level again. And usually when you have a support or resistance, at the 4th attempt, it breaks, right? So we had attempt number 1, number 2, number 3, and now we are going for number 4. So is it going to break this time? It is a possibility, and if this happens, this could kick altcoins off of their final support. Now, I want to go back in the bear market time, where I was very skeptical about altcoins and said on the channel like, hey, I am not really buying too much altcoins and I'm more in Bitcoin, and then later buy altcoins with my Bitcoin. It was a beautiful strategy, and luckily, we got some altcoins before the big altcoin pump that we have seen the beginning of this year. But overall, like I said, it is getting washed out again. So just sticking to this thesis wasn't that bad of an idea. Okay, so somewhere deeply inside, Benjamin Cohen, you're still doing an amazing job, man. Like, if you don't want to pick too much and don't want to have too much headaches and feel like, yeah, I just don't want to take too much risk and want to go with the reward, then you should just leave altcoins alone and go with Bitcoin. And I know there are people saying, yeah, but this altcoin did a 30x. Yeah, that's true, but you don't know that beforehand, right? And there are a lot of altcoins that didn't, and that compensated for that, right? That's the risk that you're taking. But again, if you do not like that risk, yeah, then it's really not worth it. So what I'm doing, I'm writing down names, I'm making a list like J. Cole, and when it's really time, I'm gonna strike. The problem is a lot of people already lost a lot of money because they came in at the pump and now they are seeing their portfolio down 40, 50, 60, 70%. I'm half cash, half crypto right now. And I sleep so well. I have kids, I don't sleep well. But based on crypto, I sleep well. And that's because I'm prepared for the downside and the upside. If we look at the total tree, right? That's everything except Bitcoin and Ethereum, but it also includes USDT. So we take that away as well. And we divide that by the Bitcoin market cap. Then you can see how altcoins in general are doing against Bitcoin. Now, for everybody that said like, yeah, you should have bought altcoins and not Bitcoin, yeah, in general, from the exact bottom, you are up 11%, but from the top, you are down 56%. So being in altcoins, although I'm a big proponent of that in these times, was not that great actually. And it's basically ranging for like a year already, although we had a big altcoin pump in between and now a big altcoin dump in between. It's ranging for a year and it's not really doing anything. Here it was also ranging from August 2018 till May 2019. So basically the same time period and also a similar range, and then it broke down. And the reason it broke down is because Ethereum broke down. There was QT. It's like the same narratives that we see right now. The thing is though, this was during a time where Bitcoin also went down. So altcoins on their dollar pair got completely washed out. And it might be that the same will happen right now. It's not that I say that it will, but it could definitely happen. Altcoins can see big crashes. I mean, we have already seen big crashes. So if we see another 40% correction, yeah, why not? We are in the middle of it. And that's why I keep money on the sideline, because I have a list of altcoins that I want to buy and I don't want to think about it at the time that we are really that low, because the market will move fast. You will get emotional. I just want to look at my list and be like, okay, this was the coin that I wanted to buy. And I get a great price for that. A lot of people are now DCAing, and it might be a good idea. I mean, it might also be that this was our accumulation phase. This was the uptrend, this was the distribution phase, this was the downtrend, and this is the new accumulation phase. However, in the bigger scheme of things, this is the upside of the range, this is the downside of the range, and we are now in the middle, right? And we still have to see the lower side of it. So therefore, I can honestly say, it could be that this is the bottom for altcoins finally, but it could also be that we go a lot lower, right? I tend to believe that although we probably go lower, this is already a great buying opportunity right now, right? That's my general view of it. On the other hand, hey, I can be wrong, right? And I don't want to have all my money there if that happens. So therefore, half cash, half crypto. Then there's others divided by Bitcoin. Others is everything in the top 125, excluding the top 10. And we divide that by Bitcoin, right? So not the big caps like Ethereum or the stables or whatever, but some altcoins that perform pretty well, right? You can see that this is holding up pretty decently still. On the other hand, everything in the top 125 keeps on shoveling, right? If we had Portal, for example, in the top 125, but it's now outside of that, right? It's now somewhere ranked 300 something. But this chart doesn't go down because of it, because something else came into the top 125. But overall, the market cap of that is holding up pretty decently against Bitcoin. We still have to go down with 25% to get back to the lows. But you should realize that from the top, we already kind of went down the same amount in the last couple of weeks. So I do feel like, why can't that happen in the next couple of weeks, right? So always keep a consideration. Hey, we went down. You can always go down more. Again, some people, they might want to consider this video as bearish, but what I want is for you to realize that the market can go up very hard, but last cycle has shown us that when everybody's bullish, the market can collapse like crazy as well. And that's where the real opportunities come from. That's where you don't buy a coin at $10, but at $3, right? And if it then goes to $300, you make 100x instead of a 30x. That's where the life-changing opportunities come from. And I somewhere think, but especially hope, that we are going to see the same right now. I, in the last video, gave my theory on why this summer might be boring / down. And I do still think that this summer is the last opportunity that we really get. That this summer could either be very boring, or we can see a big collapse, especially for altcoins. And that after that, when nobody believes in it anymore, then it's going to start to pick up. And it's very simple. You just want to be there when that happens. Let's take a look at others, not divided by the Bitcoin market cap, but just others, right? If you look at this, the altcoin market, you can see that we are basically ranging between this resistance and this support. Now, we are sitting quite low at that support right now. It should be a strong level. Definitely, but strong support levels are there to be broken, and if we break this, we can see this level right here, the next big support. The thing is that this next big support is down another 35–40%. It's kind of the same as what we have seen so far from top to bottom, right? So what we have just witnessed in the last couple of months in the altcoin market, where this thing went down 30–40% and a lot of coins on their own went down like 60%, could happen again. It's a matter of holding this support right here. We also have the bull market support band, and if we do take a look at that, we are really sitting on top of it. And somewhere I feel like, okay, bullish. Usually when you are sitting at the bull market support band, it's a beautiful buying opportunity. On the other hand, whenever you break it, you can fall hard, okay? If we do take a look in the bull market, yeah, every time we are above it and we bounce off of it, we're doing very well, right? But these are all wicks on top of the bull market support band. We are now already making wicks below it. And if we don't close the week above this level where we are now, actually, then we close below it. And if you actually close below it, you can see what happened in 2019, where we were... It's not the 4-year cycle, but we were sitting at the same macro environment. We close below it and we go down pretty hard, right? I'm not including the COVID crash because I just don't think that something like that is exactly going to play out this cycle as well. But from the top until the bottom, without COVID, we went down 60%. If we now go from top to bottom down with 60%, where does it bring us? Exactly here to this support level, right? You should consider, if it happened last time, why can't it happen this time? It's possible. However, it is also possible that we get a big ass God bounce and green candle all the way up to upper 70s again. Therefore, I am very much in the camp of, guys, either scenario would not surprise me at this moment. And until the market is giving me clear directions, I'm half cash, half crypto. Right? I'm prepared for both scenarios right here. Because if you're fully in cash right now and the market does bounce, you're going to slap yourself on the head like, shit, you know, altcoins are sitting at the bull market support band, looking very bullish. Bitcoin is actually looking quite bullish. If you look at the Bitcoin production cost, for example, you can see that the production cost for Bitcoin is sitting at 60K. We're sitting just above it. And if you remember from a couple of other videos, Bitcoin never went below the production cost in history. All right, never. Maybe a wick here and there, like here you had a wick, right? But that's it. That's it. Bitcoin never really went below it. Of course, production costs can go down, right? And then Bitcoin can go down with it. So yeah, we can still go to 50K, right? But let's say 40, 30, unless a black swan, that's not going to happen in my opinion. And even in the COVID crash, we wicked below it, but we didn't close below it. So even the COVID crash, the production cost was holding it up, right? So that's a massive bullish indicator right there. So you don't want to be completely in cash because some things are definitely looking bullish. And if you don't give a crap about the short term, then it doesn't matter at all. Because prices of good quality altcoins and Bitcoin in a year from now, 1.5 years, whatever, are going to be way higher than where it is today. So if you don't want to make it more complicated than it is and don't give yourself headaches because of this stupid video right now, just DCA and you will be fine. But for the people that feel like, yeah, you know what? I have a certain amount of money. I want to make it, man, then you can really choose to consider that the market can also give you a sick opportunity. And if that happens and you strike right there, then you can make so much more out of this market than a stupid 5 or 10x. Now, let's take a look at some specific altcoins. Also, by the way, the USDT dominance, one last thing, is quite interesting. Okay, if you look at this trend line right here, every time we get there, it's going back up. So every time we go down on the USDT dominance, people feel like, okay, let's put it back into USDT. Let's take my crypto and let's sell it and put it back into USDT. We came back down here. People are doing the exact same thing. Also, this thing is flirting with its bull market support band right now, but now as resistance. So this could come down, and that could be the driver of crypto and especially Bitcoin going up. People stop believing in altcoins. That's just what I noticed. You can see it in the chart really clearly. The dominance is almost making new highs. But also when it comes to pre-sales, and people are so fucking skeptical right now. That could also be an indicator like, okay, maybe do pay some extra attention to altcoins. When stuff is boring, when nobody cares, is usually the time to strike. So I'm very contradictory in this video. I know that because on one hand I'm saying like, hey, bullish, bullish. And on the other hand, I say, be careful, it's not looking good. And that's just what I see in the market right now. It's giving me mixed signals. I don't want a relationship with something like that, right? If you look at altcoins on the dollar pair, yeah, not so great, right? Not so great. I mean, Trader Joe, okay, you are doing quite fine, but you have to realize in a matter of a couple of weeks, this thing crashed with 65%, right? The native token of one of the biggest dexes, the native token of the biggest dex of one of the biggest chains out there, acting like a shitcoin, right? See the 5 finally taking a very big hit. See the buy. Ultra never really shown that strength actually in the first place, right? Uniswap had a big bounce. And, oh yeah, this was a joke for the last video, by the way. But it has a big bounce. And then in a matter of like, in 1 week, basically, it got washed out again, right? These pumps are so short-lived. Now, I want to make it very clear. A lot of people, they say like, yeah, you know what? A lot of altcoins, they are holding up pretty well, right? Like, it's not that they are actually sitting at the lows or whatever, like Uniswap still twice from the low, etc. Yeah, but if you look at these altcoins on their Bitcoin pair, it is not looking so well. If you look at Trader Joe, it made a all-time low this week. This week, we made an all-time low. So even though the Trader Joe USDT chart is looking pretty fine, on the Bitcoin pair, it just made a low, a new low, right? So wouldn't it be better to just be in Bitcoin? Like that's now still, if I look at the market, I'd be like, yeah, you know what? Benjamin was right. So, you know, like he got a lot of shit for it. I gave him shit once, not for exactly this, but just at like looking at the wrong chart sometimes. But this thesis, he was right about, right? Now, what to do with that information right now? Should you now sell all your altcoins and put it into Bitcoin? Yeah, that doesn't seem like too great of an idea. Like, yeah, the Bitcoin dominance can go up a little bit more. But in my opinion, we are now so close to the top somewhere in this area. Then what's the point, right? What's the risk reward right now? But you should realize that altcoins can still fall quite hard. If you look at AVAX, I mean, AVAX was one of the harder runners as well and is still up 280% on its dollar pair. But if you look on its Bitcoin pair, it is now up 76%, right? So it's doing very badly against Bitcoin. If you look at Matic, yeah, it completely broke down. Illuvium is a project that I like a lot. And I think that Illuvium is going to be pretty successful, actually. You could look at this chart and be like, yeah, you know, it went from $40 all the way to $160, and it's now at 80, right? Like, but it's still up to, yeah. No, it's not up. It's actually not up. If you look at Illuvium on its Bitcoin pair, it is sitting at the low, right? And that's what I've shown in the Patreon as well. Like, guys, usually fourth attempt, it breaks, right? 1, 2, 3, maybe a little up, and then 4 and break, right? The Bitcoin dominance just has to do, and altcoins, they crash, right? Even IMX, a pretty strong coin, yeah, can't seem to break out. Games for a living, something that a lot of people were crazy bullish on, where is it now, right? A lot of people, they were like, oh, GFAL doing great. No, no. A lot of people said GFAL was great. They didn't think GFAL was great. They just saw a price going up and figured like, oh, it's nice. Now the price goes down and people feel like, oh, fuck that project, right? Same project, just way lower, right? It went up crazy hard. But in a shorter time period, it washed out all the gains and it dumped almost 80% on its Bitcoin pair. If you look at Chainlink, one of the, in my opinion, an altcoin with one of the best use cases, and I think that Chainlink is going to absolutely rip, by the way, in this bull market, but it's sitting at the lows, right? Falcon Forged. They are building, they have their Elysium chain, they now have a launchpad, they have all these games, they have a really tight community, great founders, and it completely crashed, right? Ronin is one of the exceptions that's still holding up pretty well, but if you take it from the top, also Ronin is already down more than 50% on its Bitcoin pair. Solana is one of the coins that is holding up pretty decently. This is a coin that I feel like, okay, might be worth paying attention to in the bull market, okay? Once we get an alt season, Solana is going to surprise. Why do I say that? Because it's now already holding up on its Bitcoin pair. So what if the Bitcoin dominance finally goes down? Then Solana on its Bitcoin pair absolutely shoots up. And even if Bitcoin then goes up, then you can see Solana going absolutely parabolic on its dollar pair. Superverse, also interesting. It, beautiful falling wedge and a bam, breakout. Beautiful, beautiful. This is a coin that a lot of people have faded and now it is just so strong. But even in all the strength, it's already down 42%. Uniswap made a new low. Ultra made a new low. Veracity made a new low. All these coins on their Bitcoin pair, they keep on getting wrecked. So although these short pumps that we have seen right here could have gave you some money, it was only good if you bought exactly here and sold exactly here. That's nice if you are a trader. But if you are an investor, then with the exception of 2 or 3 coins in this list, you should have just stayed away from it. But okay, we can't go back in time. We cannot not buy these altcoins and just be in Bitcoin and wait for this moment to happen to finally buy all these altcoins up with that Bitcoin. We are here now. Most people are in altcoins. I've been talking a lot about altcoins lately, and I haven't foreseen that this was going to happen so long, actually, to be honest. So what am I doing right now? I have an altcoin back. I'm not selling this. I am definitely not selling this. We are, in my opinion, in one of the phases of the bull market where altcoins just take massive hits and eventually at around this point or maybe 40% lower, but somewhere in that range, we will find a clear bottom and should go up from there. So the best thing is just to wait, sit it out, watch it bleed, and do not act. In the meantime, with every small or good or big correction that we get, I am buying Bitcoin. Why is that? Well, Bitcoin is going to go fucking nuts, right? And then you have at least the exposure. And if altcoins do go down on the Bitcoin pair, you can always buy them with that Bitcoin. So therefore, it's of course never too late. Now also, I know there are a lot of people, they would like to say like, yeah, you are in the wrong altcoins. You should take a look at the new altcoins, right? Yeah, that's not that easy, right? That's not that easy. That's not how it works. Of course, there are some new altcoins outperforming Bitcoin by far. But again, before that happens, you do not know that. You do not have a crystal ball, right? And if you just feel like, yeah, I'm going to invest in the new altcoins, you could be in a GPU, for example, right? Where this coin came out and maybe for some reason, somewhere you got it right here or here, and now you're up a little bit. On the other hand, new altcoins, Playable Game is a new altcoin. Yeah, went down quite a lot, right? Like I said, GFAL is a relative new altcoin, not looking so well. Honeyland is a new altcoin, only down from here. And there are many examples. So what I rather do is invest in these pre-sales. For example, this Wisdomize got in and bought it here. So whatever, like it's now still sitting at a 3x or so. Right now it's sitting way lower, but at 1.2 cents, sitting at a 5x right now. So it's looking pretty good, and this has a lot of room to go down before I finally actually lose money. So if anything, I'd rather be in pre-sales. Therefore, I am also talking a lot about the Patreon. We have it down below, where I offer private sales of great projects that you also find on Seedify. I'm also running Web3 Whales. We do that collectively, and you can just take the Web3 Whale token and claim your share of the profits that we make. But overall, this is rather how I choose to make my money, and not to be much in the open market at this moment. Again, it starts to look quite scary, similar to what we did in 2019. And if we compare it to 2019, you can see that Bitcoin went down pretty hard over here. But the Bitcoin dominance went up pretty hard over there. Again, if that's what's going to play out this time as well, and the macro is not saying that this is impossible, then altcoins will get completely destroyed. And that could be the narrative for a lot of altcoins to find their final levels where it's a golden must-buy, screaming, great fucking life-changing opportunity. I can't stress that enough. And again, if we take AVAX as an example, you can see that on its Bitcoin pair, this was the bottom. And yeah, you can say whatever you want, but we are heading there again, right? And this just takes a lot of time. But, you know, we were sitting at 11K Satoshis. Now we are already sitting at 5K. So who says we cannot go to 3K, right? We are more than halfway there already. If we do take a look at the AVAX Bitcoin pair, then what I just said about having a 40-50% decline, it kind of makes sense and it lines up. If you look at the last cycle, then you can see where we were sitting at the bottom. We went up pretty hard, consolidate a little bit. We went up pretty hard, consolidate a little bit. We had our second push up, right? We had a second push up, stayed there for a while, and then we slowly started to go down, right? And now we are slowly starting to go down. So we're kind of exactly repeating this part over here so far. I'm not saying the next move, this move will also be repeated, but repeated all these moves, right, so far. So why not the last one? And if you ask me, that's great. Because I don't look at the chart right now and be like, oh yeah, my expectation for the AVAX ecosystem is completely different. That's exactly the same. The price it doesn't have to do anything with that. Unfortunately, a lot of people, they see an AVAX go up from $9 to like $60 and be like, oh, AVAX, such a great product. And then it goes down from 60 to 30 and they be like, yeah, fuck AVAX, man, stupid ecosystem, nobody gives a fuck about it. Like, that's how people work, unfortunately, right? I still believe the same thing. I think that AVAX could easily see at least its previous all-time high again. Yeah, then I'd rather buy it somewhere in this range of around $10 and make a clean 15x than just buying it somewhere right here at the top for a 2 or 3x. And now in this time of the market, don't be too degen, all right? When everybody in the market, when it was bottomed out in around October, give or take last year, if everybody was bullish at around October 2023, yeah, that was the right time, right? Unfortunately, a lot of people became bullish when the market was already ripping. For example, this Illumia Crown, this is a project on Solana, which I think is like beautiful. This is a great looking game, right? And this is so micro cap. So from the bottom to the top, it did around a 20x, right? And this was the topic of the day. However, in a downwards market, yeah, it's doing the exact same thing, but the other way around. Now it's down 80%. So even in a bull market, you can turn $1,000 into $200, right? And we are not even stopped crashing, right? Like it's still going on. We don't know how far this goes down, right? But at a certain point, whether this is going to stop here, right? Or that we go down a little more and find a new bottom here, or that we just make a double bottom or even a lower bottom, whatever it might be, that would be such a fucking beautiful buying opportunity there, because just going back to the cycle high for this coin is a 5x already. And that's at this point, right? So again, let alone how low we can go first and how high we can go eventually. Take it as an opportunity if you see that prices are really going down hard. What I hate to see, guys, really, I'm in some groups, Telegram, Discord, whatever. I see people saying, shit, price goes down. What the fuck, right? Like, and I feel like, yeah, it's crypto. Of course prices go down. But I also feel like, yeah, I have cash, so I am not the one calling shit or I don't like this, right? I don't want to be in the camp that I don't like it when something is going down. Therefore, I'm saying have cash, have crypto. 40, 60%, 30, 70, but at least have exposure to both sides. And at the end of the day, what we all want is prices to go up. And in my opinion, at the end of the day, or at least a cycle, that's exactly what's going to happen. We just have to have some patience. The summer could be boring. Prepare, stack cash, stack crypto, do it all. And don't look at the 1 minute or even the 1 day charts, right? Stay away from that and just have a nice summer. And we will make it, definitely. But not if you buy every 2% dip that you see right now to find out that you're eventually running out of money when the real correction happens. So if you like the same old preaching, just like the video. I don't even feel like editing this too much. It's more about the message. Subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on. See you soon.